So, as you may have heard, landing a software development job is difficult right now. This is especially true if you are a new grad and don't have professional work experience yet. We've all seen the memes where entry level job postings require 3 to 5 years of experience, 6 Olympic gold medals, and superpowers. Or my personal favorite job postings requiring more years of experience than the technology has even existed. And having been at this job search for a few weeks now, it's sad to say how much truth there is in the memes. Some posters on Reddit would have you believe that it's even impossible to find junior dev jobs, that we're all cooked and you should give up now. But I don't think that way. At least not yet. Just yesterday, I had the chance to speak to a few managers in the software development industry one-on-one. This included a hiring manager at a large company. There was also a 90-minute panel that preceded this conversation, answering many questions from new grads just like me about what makes a resume stand out. What makes a resume get rejected instantly? What are companies looking for in junior developers? I will provide the answers they gave to these questions within this video, but there's a lot more that has gone into my updated strategy than just these answers. So today, I will be sharing with you my strategy to land my first software development job in 2024. I'll just start with the main takeaway that was echoed by pretty much every manager I spoke to. If you want to get hired quickly, be prepared for a battle on all fronts. This includes having a concise, well-formatted resume and having good portfolio projects at a minimum, but will also very likely include continuously applying to all the jobs you're qualified for and attending networking events to start building a network of contacts. You should expect to send around 100 to 150 resumes just to get one interview, so be prepared to do a lot of job applications. This is on top of doing enough LeetCode problems throughout the week that you can pass technical interviews when it comes time. Of course, you will also have to have decent social skills, reasonable interview attire, likely some references, and the list goes on. If that sounds like a lot, that's because it is. This is something the hiring manager acknowledged and reiterated several times. They also mentioned that getting your first job quickly will likely take some luck. As the space is competitive right now, there are usually hundreds of applicants for any entry-level job. So your resume might not even be seen, and if it is, it's tough to differentiate yourself as new grads all have roughly the same experience, capability, and portfolio projects. It definitely is a numbers game. In other words, this process is likely to take a while, so be prepared to hunker down for some time. But also, while times are tough right now, landing an entry-level dev job is not impossible. If you are a competent new grad that adopts an attitude and strategy that incorporates a high volume of job applications, plus an improving skill set, plus an effective way to communicate this to recruiters, you will eventually get hired. Of course, this is easier for some people than others. If you live at home or have enough money to support yourself without a job for several months, you're going to have an easier time with this, and less stress than someone who has a part-time or full-time job, children, or any number of other responsibilities. For me, I have a couple of months before I really need to get more cash. So I've given myself a few months to 100% dedicate my time to this job search. So now I'm going to address how I plan on ensuring that I have everything I need to get a job. First, am I competent? Despite being shockingly incompetent in many areas, I do have a Bachelor of Science, I have graduated with a diploma in computer science recently, and have written hundreds of thousands of lines of code by now, some of which may have actually been decent. So I know I can at least do the job of a junior dev. As for job application volume, my goal is to apply between 5 to 10 jobs a day, which translates to 150 to 300 applications per month. Of course, I will be reaching out directly to people in my network and expanding my network as much as possible alongside these cold job board applications. For improving my skill set, I will spend time outside of this working on getting better and better portfolio projects on my resume. Okay, so that's the first 3 covered, but the last one is really what ties this equation together and will make or break my chances. To communicate my skills to recruiters effectively, I have to demonstrate both soft and hard skills. As for soft skills, I plan on working on these by going through some mock culture interviews with friends and on my own several times before each interview. I will also continue to go to all the relevant networking events I can to maintain whatever is left of my social skills after computer science school. As for demonstrating my hard skills, I first need to have a good resume. I think my current resume is pretty decent, but I've been too shy to ask people to critique it yet, so I'm going to start there. I'm also going to continue to add projects to and keep creating different tailored versions of my resume that are more pertinent to the specific jobs I'm applying to. As for the answer to what makes a resume get rejected instantly, the answers most commonly given were having a resume that is too long, contains poor spelling or grammatical mistakes, or perhaps most interestingly, over-embellishing your skills. If you're a new grad with no professional experience, don't try to oversell yourself. As for the answer to what makes a resume stand out, it helps if the resume is well formatted and concise, does not contain large paragraphs, and puts your best projects near the top. Another major cornerstone of demonstrating hard skills is through technical interviews. As we all know, 9 times out of 10, this means leak code problems. This is probably what I've been slacking on the most, so I'm bringing out the big guns for this, in the form of these 2 jars. One jar contains these glass pebbles, and one doesn't. If this jar is empty, I have to do a leak code problem that day. For every leak code problem I complete beyond the daily minimum of 1, I can move 1 stone into this jar. So if I complete 2 in a day, I get to move 1. If I complete 3 in a day, I get to move 2. And so on. To accommodate days where I won't have time, have other things I need to do, feel sick, or just need a break, I can use the stones in this jar as tokens for those days. This will force me to do an average of 1 leak code problem per day until I get a job. So I've already been doing everything I mentioned for a couple of weeks, and I've definitely put more than full-time working hours into what I've covered here. So far, I've been almost scammed twice, and I've had a company ghost me after reaching out to set up an interview. Maybe it's a cope, but I still remain hopeful about landing a job in the next several months. If you want to see how all of this turns out for me, or if you enjoyed this video and want to watch more, feel free to subscribe. And to answer that final question, what are companies looking for in junior developers? At the end of the day, they just want someone who is passionate and wants to learn. They want to get a sense of your attitude, your process for learning, and a demonstrated ability to have at least learned some things already. The worst thing you can do is go into the interview and pretend that you know everything. Senior managers know that you don't. So make sure you mention and demonstrate your willingness and ability to learn in your interviews, and a positive attitude above all else. If you're a new grad like me, I feel for you, and I hope we all find our junior dev jobs soon. Until next time, keep your heads up and take pride in knowing that what you're doing is not easy, and if you keep going, you'll get there eventually.